So I was on my way with my translator from Donetsk to Slavansk, and we were detained at a checkpoint by pro-Russian militants and blindfolded and held for about 3 hours before finally being released.
And how were you treated during those 3 hours?
There's very rampant anti-American sentiment among these people, and also anti-Western sentiment, and they're very suspicious of journalists. I think that they were worried that we were spies. They definitely believed the propaganda they're seeing on Russian television. So they were very aggressive toward us, but they were also trying to reassure us that it would be okay in the end. And once they finally decided to release us, and we did hear some talk, where our translators did, from the captors about taking us hostage. Then they were very polite and apologetic and even served us tea before we left.
Give me an idea of how that is reflective of what's going on in Slavansk at the moment. Obviously, you talk about being a foreign journalist, they're suspicious of you, but for the people who live there, what did you see?
I didn't make it there unfortunately, to speak to anybody in Slavyansk, and I would say that it's mass confusion here, and I'm sure it's even worse down there. Just coming, even on the part of the guys with guns who are in control or in nominal control, as we were blindfolded driving from one pro-Russia checkpoint to the next, our pro-Russia captors were cocking their guns as we approached, because they're suspicious of one another. They don't know who each other are. They don't know if they're going to be able to pass. So I think it really is just chaos here right now.
In the east of the country, this pressure has been growing. There have been these uprisings. But in the south of the country and other parts of the country, that hasn't been the case. Are you getting a sense that this really is spreading?
I would say if I were in Odessa right now, I would be very concerned. That's exactly how it started here. There's some protests, there's some unrest, there are some clashes. I mean, I was here when the first person was killed in Donetsk, when a pro-Ukraine rally was attacked by a pro-Russia one. And, the Kremlin and the pro-Russia media immediately seized on that as a propaganda tool to suggest that there was violence, that Russia needed to intervene, that the situation was unstable, and we had a gradual spiral into chaos from there.
You tweeted earlier on, when you were held for those 3 hours, you were talking about how they'd asked you to prove that you were American. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think this really speaks to the fact that these are just amateurs with guns for the most part, especially the people on the ground manning the checkpoints. So they were trying to find out whether we were lying about our identities, and I had my passport on me. I was very open about being an American citizen, and they came up to me and asked me where I was from. I said United States. They asked me the capital of the United States, and then they asked me to pronounce the word garden. And I guess I did that to their satisfaction, and they determined that I wasn't lying to them and offered me water.